Hello, this is Father David Nix at the Padre Peregrino podcast. This is TCE number 39, Theology and Current Events. Today, I'm joined by my friend Mel Gibson to talk about the new movie, Father Stu. Mr. Mel Gibson is an actor, writer, and producer with nearly 100 productions under his belt, including 2 Oscars, and of course, making the movie Passion of the Christ that brought millions to understand even the basics of what it means for Jesus to die for us. Mel, thanks so much for joining us today.
Good morning.
Morning. Now, we're going to talk about Father Stu. It's a new movie that Mel Gibson made with Mark Wahlberg. True story of a man who died in 2014, lived a very rough life before a major conversion, and then entered seminary. And as I said, he died in 2014. Can you tell us the basics of the life of Father Stu, Mel?
Well, he was just a guy, rough and tumble guy. He was very good at boxing. He was like kind of a Golden Gloves champ guy in Montana. And, he lived a life like most young guys, pretty venal. He liked to drink, he liked to fight, he liked to, pretty much go where he would. And he just had a conversion experience at one point. He met and fell in love with a young woman who was Catholic. And then he started to explore what that meant, in the film, in the screenplay, she says, I can't date someone who's not baptized. And he goes, well, where's the water? So, he doesn't enter into it with the purest of motives. But what he ends up doing is he had a motorcycle accident, and he described some kind of out-of-body experience that occurred while he was, in the twilight zone. And as soon as he survived an accident, a hideous one, he got hit by a car and then he got run over by another car. So they didn't expect him to live, but he pulled through. And when he snapped out of it, he said that he needed to be a priest. And they were like, the girl's like, but we were going to get married. And he's like, sorry, I need to be a priest. And he was really dead sure about it. And he followed that. And of course, he did follow that, but it wasn't a grease ride, because he also developed a disease, and I forgot what it's called, but it's kind of like Lou Gehrig's disease, ALS. It's a bit like that, but slightly different, and which eventually got him. But he was ordained and fulfilled his priesthood, but was ill, and he died at the age of 50. I think. And but that conversion and what he was able to achieve and relate to other people about the nature of suffering, and he considered himself to be, pretty lucky that he had these trials and was able to communicate that to others. He was an inspiration to many, and I think the film itself, and I've seen it, is pretty inspirational. So.
And you play his father in this movie, right?
Yeah, I play his dad, and who also, and they were kind of agnostics as a family. And one of Stuart's triumphs, I think, was that he converted his parents and before he checked out, and that's portrayed in the film.
You know what? I'm going to link in the show notes the obituary that his parents wrote, and it's obviously pretty accurate since his parents wrote it. And it says, just to answer your question on the disease, it says he was diagnosed with inclusion body myositis, an extremely rare autoimmune disease which mimics the symptoms of ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease, and for which there is no cure. By the time of his ordination, Father Stu was walking with the aid of crutches. His first assignment was to Little Flower Parish in Browning, Montana. And I'm sure you've seen a lot of these, movies on the priesthood recently, like Doubt, and there's numerous movies that make priests out to be bad, and really a lot of those movies of priest child scandals, I'm glad they made them, because it's exposing the bad side of the priesthood. But it's about time we also have one of the something making priests out to be good. How do you think this is going to affect priests? Have priests seen this movie yet?
Yeah, they have, and they love it, and they're quite emotionally moved by it, and are I think relieved and surprised that it sort of portrays the priesthood in a very positive way, as in most cases it is that. I think, one hears about the bad news. I mean, there's some bad apples, and that is just so tragic, and that has to be, but it is the case, unfortunately. But hey, they're not all bad apples. The majority are good guys, and I think that they were pleased and quite moved by the film. So it is a good experience, and you don't have to be a Christian to appreciate it either. I think the story works across the board for just about anybody that wants to see it, because it talks about faith, conviction, and relationships in families, that need healing, and I think you see that in this, and it's so that many people who aren't even religious kind of are moved by the film. So it's pretty good. She did a very good job, the director. She wrote it and directed it, and it was the first time she directed, but has done a phenomenal job. I mean, it's like she was born to do it.
And you told me there were some non-Catholic investors that were in tears at the end when they got to see this.
Oh yeah, they invested in it and liked it very much. But yeah, I mean, it works. Sure. I mean, what can I say? It works. Mm-hmm.
What do you think? And then you and I are traditional Catholics, like the Latin Mass. What do you think traditional Catholics are going to find of this movie?
Yeah, I think that they'll get something from it, because it's Stuart, of course, was in the era of post Vatican II, and just I've had a few discussions about Stuart, and he had a lot of questions about that. So and he was kind of a guy who was a stickler for asking questions. He wasn't easy.
Pretty orthodox, at least, huh?
Yeah, and I think also in the film, I think it really displays the tenets of the faith in a pretty pure way, and almost in a comical way. I think that the really wonderfully surprising thing about watching the film with an audience, as I did, was that they begin to laugh at the beginning, and they laugh. They really laugh a lot, and particularly Catholics, because they get the humor of it, because you have a guy who's an outsider asking questions about, like, but that seems pretty weird, he's asking about confession being a laundry service and all this kind of stuff, which is like your basic assumptions that people make that they don't understand completely, which is kind of comical. So that there is a lot of fun in the film, and you laugh and you laugh and you laugh until you cry. So it works very well. I mean, the writer followed the whole Shakespearean technique of if you're going to make a tragedy, have the first half be a comedy, and it does that very well and beautifully.
It's like people were shocked he actually became a priest, because there's that opening scene in the trailer. Maybe it's halfway through the movie, but it's one of the few scenes that we see in the trailer. And after his accident, he goes and tells his mom, "I'm going to be a priest," and she says, "For Halloween?"
Yeah.
Obviously she's but it appears to be a real conversion. It's not just like he wants to dabble in things of religion. It sounds like he really wants to bring people to Christ and the sacraments.
Yeah, he was pretty zealous about what he found, because I think he found peace in his own life and existence, and he wanted to bring it to other people. And so he was serious, and there's footage of him. Even at the end of the film, there's real footage of him talking. But he was an inspiration to many. Apparently, when he was on the way out, people would just line up to talk to him, and that's portrayed in the film too. But he was in demand, incredibly so, and was very generous with his time, even though he was suffering.
I think what's spectacular too is this is a news story. The fact he died in 2014. The Diocese of Helena sent guys to where I went to seminary. I was ordained in 2010. A guy, Father Eric, who was ordained a few years before me from the Diocese of Helena, I texted him a few days ago. I said, "Did you know Father Stu?" He said, "Yeah, we were in the same fraternal group." So it's pretty amazing. We look at priest stories from the past, and obviously Father Stu isn't canonized or anything, but we often look at these priests from the past with great admiration. I think what's fascinating about this is it's a new story.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's recent history. If you come to think of it, I mean, he only passed away in 2014. So it's, you haven't even changed all your body cells again.
That's right. That's right. Well, Mel, you've given us enough of your time. Thank you so much for joining us. And just anyone out there who'd like to subscribe to Padre Peregrino, please do subscribe and make sure to come out and see Father Stu. I think it opens Good Friday. I was hoping it would actually come out Holy Thursday. That's the day the priesthood was established, but someone told me Fridays are the days that movies are put out in Hollywood.
I believe it's opening on a Wednesday.
Oh, Wednesday. Okay.
Yeah, so it's the Wednesday before Good Friday. So you'll get Holy Thursday in there.
Right.
So,
Thanks for joining me, Mel.
okay.
God bless you.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.